Jack Grealish's time at Manchester City seems to be all but over, but rather than Jack Grealish questioning whether has he delivered, has the media, the mainstream media in England here, are they going to question Jack Grealish? No! You blame Pep, don't you? It's Pep's fault. Bloody Pep. What's he doing? You don't know what he's doing, Pep. Mainstream media. Have a listen to this. Absolute drivel once again from TalkSport.
Just on this Jack Grealish one, mate, I'm a bit annoyed at Pep.
Why?
I think he's like a spoiled brat.
Who?
Pep. Yeah, he's a spoiled brat, mate. Honestly. Well, he's brought in, he spent £100 million on Jack Grealish, right? Ruined him as a football player. And Jack would look at it and say, oh, he's won. He won the treble that season. But, you know, he hasn't really done much there at that football club. And Pep now just wants to bin him. Just get rid of him. No, not for me. Not in the squad. Nah, thanks. See you later. Not playing him. Don't really care about what he's about. And see you later. You spent £100 million on him. £100 million. Mm-hmm. Like, if that happened with Declan Rice at Arsenal, Arteta would get the sack. Right? Pep gets away with it because he's Pep.
Yeah, Pep, your fault, mate. £100 million on Jack Grealish? Who do you think you are, mate? Getting away with murder. Getting away with murder there, Pep. You know, Mikel Arteta, the poor guy's living on a shoestring budget. How is he even managing to finish second? It's an incredible achievement just to be coming close to this Manchester City side. Because like Jamie O'Hara highlighted there, he did highlight the fact that Declan Rice cost over £100 million. That's more money than we've ever spent on any single player at Manchester City. £115 million for Declan Rice. You know, what's he got to show for it? You know, what's he delivered for Arsenal in terms of silverware? You know, at least Jack Grealish is coming away with plenty and plenty of silverware, you know. He's got a cabinet full of trophies, Jack Grealish, thanks to this football club that is Manchester City. You know, it's not like you spent 50 million on Thomas Partey, or 60 million on Ben White, or 75 million on Kai Havertz, or a combined 90 million on Jesus and Zinchenko, 40 million on Yuri and Timber, you know. Kai Havertz was 75 million, mate. You need a new striker, and you signed one for 75 million not too long ago. That's 7 players I've just listed there for you. A combined total of 430 million if you include Declan Rice's 115. And of those players I've just listed, how many of those players at Arsenal Football Club are going to be a guaranteed starter next season? How many? Mikel Arteta's ruining them. He spent all this money on the rest of the players. There's only Declan Rice that's a guaranteed starter out of the likes of Jesus, Zinchenko, Partey, Ben White. Who else? We've got Declan Rice. He's a guaranteed starter. Yuri and Timber as well. Who are these starters that are going to cost this much money? You know, Declan Rice is the only one. And you're pointing the finger at Pep for spending 100 million on Jack Grealish. At least Jack Grealish delivered some trophies in a valuable season, a historic season for Manchester City where we went and won the fucking treble, mate. You know, there's very little to argue about when it comes to actual silverware. In terms of what Jack Grealish has done, yeah, massive hole in his career for me. I think there's been an underwhelming signing. I believe that wholeheartedly. But Jamie O'Hara wasn't done. If you didn't believe the guy may or may not know what he's talking about, if you hadn't quite made your mind up just yet, have a listen.
How about I'm gonna make it work? I spent £100 million on you, and I'm gonna try. I need another season out of you. And I'm going to put my arm around you and I'm going to get the best out of you. But this is what Pep does. Because he's Pep, he gets away with it. How many players have gone there and been absolute flops? And they just get rid of him. Oh, no, we just get someone else. Because we got Qatari owners.
This is why people watch YouTube now. You know, this is why people are tuning into YouTube and tuning out of the mainstream media. And they still haven't figured it out. There must be some sort of policy at TalkSport where you have to talk drivel to get a job there. You know, do you talk sense? Do you speak facts? Do you know what you're talking about? Do you have a modicum of footballing knowledge? In which case, get out. You're not welcome here at TalkSport Studio. But if you talk shit and talk absolute drivel and have no idea what you're talking about, have utmost ignorance in towards the game itself, as well as geographical ignorance as well, and global ignorance in terms of where Manchester City's owners are from as well, then you are very much welcome in the TalkSport studios. Get yourself in. Because the drivel, the fact that he said we've got Qatari owners just sums up the mainstream media for me and the outlook on Manchester City. They don't even know where our owners are from. You know? Qatari owners. What them lot over there? It's that attitude. It's fucking racism. Let's call it out. It's either ignorance or racism, one or the other. And I think the two cross over quite frequently, in all honesty, because it's them lot over there. Them lot with different coloured skin. Them lot that dress differently. Them lot, you know, with different beliefs, different values over there. And it's them lot with all the fucking money. That's the problem. The underlying problem. It's them lot that have got more money than we've got. That's what it's all about. you know? And it's all because it's been infested into the Premier League, and this money is now coming from a different source than it used to. It used to be the Americans. No one had a problem then. Why is that? It's overseas money. What's the problem? Why? You have money coming in from different parts of the world, but all of a sudden, that part of the world, problem. You know, there's clearly a tone there. There is clearly a tone, and it's indicated within the 115 charges as well. You know, full well that the backlash from Manchester City fans is going to be huge when and if we get cleared of all charges. But I mean, honestly, it wasn't just him either. In terms of Jack Grealish, let's go back to Jack Grealish, because I mean, I feel for the guy being caught in the crossfire here between bollocks from the mainstream media, Manchester City fans who want to defend the decision to hire Jack Grealish and use him as a player that's delivered silverware for Manchester City. I think he could have been way better. I don't think he was as good as he could have been. I do think we overspent on Jack Grealish in terms of 100 million. Way too much money, you know? But I think he did a job for us in one particular season. A season that is historic. A season where Manchester City won the fucking treble, mate. You can't forget that. Now, he wasn't the only one at TalkSport Studios, because it seemed to be the best news of the day. Pep being a failure. Let's have a listen.
But we've seen this before from Pep. Remember Leroy Sané? Done great for Manchester City. Raheem Sterling done great for Manchester City. Pep can be ruthless at times. If he feels that you're not part of his future plans, he will get rid of you. Kevin De Bruyne. No one thought Kevin De Bruyne would be allowed to go on a free transfer. Doesn't fit in with his plans.
Just again, this is Gabby Agbonlahor, former Aston Villa player, current friend of Jack Grealish. That must be remembered here. This is Jack Grealish's best mate, effectively speaking. Of course, he's going to defend him, so I get that. But you got to do your homework, mate. Do your homework, mate. Like, if Leroy Sané wanted to leave, you're saying Kevin De Bruyne. Oh, like, he's so disrespectful. Pep Guardiola. He was in tears, mate. I was there. I didn't do a watch long. I went to it. I saw him. He was in tears, Pep Guardiola, at the idea of Kevin De Bruyne leaving. 10 years the guy gave Manchester City. You know, he was here when Pep arrived, and Pep stuck by him, kept playing him. Now the time's up. City are moving forward, as does the game. What, do you want him to still be here with grey hair? Fuck's sake, man. We've got to move on. Everyone has to move on. Footballers can't live forever. You know, life does its thing. And you're talking about Jack Grealish as a player. You know, all the players that he named, by the way, Leroy Sané, Sterling and De Bruyne. Let's dissect that, shall we? Because Jack Grealish, I'm sorry, mate, there's a little bit of throwing you under the bus here, mate, because in those positions you expect goals. You expect an output. Call me old-fashioned, but call an attacker. I want my attacker to deliver in the attacking metrics. Call me old-fashioned, but that's kind of what I want. Now, Jack Grealish offered something different. A little bit unique, which is very much Pep, but we'll talk about the basic metrics. I've got them here for you. Jack Grealish, 40 goal involvements in 157 games for Manchester City. Now, he said Leroy Sané, 83 goal involvements in 135 games. More than double the goal involvements did Leroy Sané in, over 20 less games. More than double. You know, and Leroy Sané wanted to leave, by the way. We didn't kick him out. He wanted to go to Bayern Munich. He chose to leave the club. So, well, we're not going to stop you, mate. Off you go. Fine. Good luck to you. He's had a great career at Bayern Munich. But what's the problem? Sterling, 217 goal involvements in 339 games. 217. Just quick reminder, I said it a minute ago, but 40 for Jack Grealish. 40. 217 goal involvements from Raheem Sterling. 10 years of Kevin De Bruyne saw 285 goal involvements in 422 games. What are we doing here, man? What are we doing here? We're talking bollocks is what we're doing. We're listening to bollocks, and I'm trying to address it. I feel like as a Manchester City fan, I need to put my point out there and make people realise, this is astounding, that this is the mainstream media that are coming out with this stuff now. You know what I mean? This is not just some idiot in the comment sections of someone who does know what they're talking about. No, mate, this is mainstream media putting this out there to people.
Listen, I think towards the end of the season, it felt to me like it got a bit personal. I think bringing on a young kid for his debut in an FA Cup final, when you're chasing a goal, when you've got someone who's had the career Jack's had at Manchester City as well as Aston Villa, to not bring him on to change the game was odd. That seemed like a bit personal to me.
Personal? How's it personal? What does Pep owe Jack? The guy gave him 10,000 minutes in his Manchester City career. He's only had 1,500 this season, which just goes to show that he had 8,500 over the previous 4. What does he owe Jack? What do we owe Jack? We employed Jack Grealish, by the way, when it was a very dangerous sort of prospect, the idea of signing Jack Grealish for, in particular, £100 million price tag, pressure. The fact that he had just driven in COVID, when he wasn't even allowed to be out of his house at that point, for any other reason than a legitimate reason, because of the lockdown, and he got drunk, got into his car, smashed his car into a row of parked cars, and then smashed it into a wall. He then got further, a month later, got done for drink driving. We employed him after that. We signed him after that. We gave this guy a chance, you know? And forget the drunk allegations. I'm not bothered what you do in your personal life. I am bothered if you're going around drink driving, though, mate. Because if you drove past me and my kids were in the car, I'd have a fucking problem with it, mate. Do you know what I mean? I'd have a big fucking problem with it. If a drunk driver goes past me and my kids are in the car, big fucking problem, mate. Sorry about that. But personally, not that bothered if you're a party animal. You want to get drunk, you want to celebrate in the way you want to celebrate, and you get drunk and you do it within the bounds of the law. I'm not that bothered, mate. I'm really not that bothered. Call me old-fashioned again, not asked. If you put the City shirt on and you deliver, I don't care. I don't care. I want you to play for Manchester City to the best of your ability because the club is all I care about. I don't care about your personal life. I don't care about what you're doing. Drink driving is not acceptable, but drinking is different. Just drinking. Celebrating in the way you celebrate. Not bothered. And I appreciate Jack Grealish as a Jack the Lad guy. He's a good man. I think deep down he is a good guy. Lots of donations to charity. He's clearly a very warm-hearted individual that cares about a lot of things in the world that a lot of people don't care about. You know, he spends his money on a lot of things that a lot of footballers probably do as well, charitable donations here and there, but he's a good person deep down, Jack Grealish, and that is what the City fans often go to. Oh, but I like him. Me too. I like him. Seems like a really nice guy, deep down. I think he's made mistakes, he's been stupid, he's been young. We've all done it. We've all done stupid things in our young age. I get it, man. But ultimately, it's what you do on the pitch. And what you've done on the pitch does not compare to the likes of Kevin De Bruyne, to Raheem Sterling, to Leroy Sané, which is Gabby Agbonlaho's attempt to compare him to. And Manchester City have overspent on Jack Grealish. And these are the facts. £100 million is way too much for Jack Grealish. And I'm sorry, it's time to cut our losses. We move forward now as a football club. I think we have to accept that we overspent. What would you take for him now as a City fan? Get in the comments below and let me know what would you accept, because I'd take 35 million. Maybe 40 would be brilliant. There's no way we're getting 50. I don't think we're getting even half of what we spent on him, but we've got 4 years out of him. Now, Jack Grealish should be looking at this football club and saying, thank you very much, mate, because at the end of your career, you're going to look back at your Aston Villa career and go, what did I win there? I kept them up. I got punched in the face by a Birmingham City fan, scored the winner in a derby. Brilliant memory for Jack Grealish, that'll be. Very personal Aston Villa memory. Brilliant. You know, but what did you do other than that? You went to City and you won multiple Premier League titles. You won everything there was to win at Manchester City. A trophy cabinet full of silverware thanks to Manchester City Football Club. And I guarantee when you're in your 50s, Jack Grealish will be looking back at his trophy cabinet and going, that was my most prideful moment as a football player, when I won all those silverware, all that pieces of silverware in my cabinet right now that he can show his kids, and maybe those kids can show his grandkids if he chooses to have them. And that'll be pride. And you'll be looking back at that particular part of your career and saying, Manchester City, that was the best part of my career. You know what I mean? Whoever he goes to after this, good luck to you, Jack, mate. I wish you all the best. I wish you all the best. And maybe you could pick up another piece of silverware with some of the clubs that he's being linked to. Maybe. We'll see. I doubt you're going to pick up as many as you did at Manchester City, though. Blues, let me know your thoughts. Like and subscribe to Typical City, and I'll see you in the next one.
This is Typical City now, holding up silverware.